Tammy Jean Brescher.
Paul Richard Blythe.
Frank Walter Bond.
Charles Edward Boone III.
Thomas William Boone.
Robert James Boss III.
Laura Ann Bostwick.
Joseph Leland Bourne.
Edward Charles Bowen III.
Jax Rowe Bowers.
Teresa Renna Bowie.
Melody Ann Boyer.
Heidi Christine Brady.
Martina Louise Brown.
Warren John Breakey.
Melinda K. Brewster.
Michelle Lee Brewster.
Nathan Andrew Brilliant.
Oscar Foray Brown.
Ronna Nicole Brown.
Robert Allen Brown.
Jerry Lynn Bryant.
James Richard Buckman.
Garry Lee Birch Jr.
Eric Paul Burciago.
Darren Hamilton Burns.
Mary Ann Burnside.
Craig Mitchell Byerly.
Jennifer Michelle Calvin.
Charla Lynn Camp.
Christy Lee Campbell.
Donald Dean Canella.
Tressa K. Cantrell.
Christopher James Cardillo.
Richard Albert Carrillas.
Marco Antonio Carlos.
Carol Ann Carr.
Christy May Caricotto.
Denise Elaine Carter.
Kevin Michael Casey.
Kathleen Ellen Castleberry.
Elizabeth Marie Castro.
Christina Sharon.
Dina Yvonne Chauncey.
Gregory James Chavez.
Jack Anthony Cheeseman.
Kelly Chipman.
Shauna K. Christensen.
Michael Lynn Clark.
Renee Sherry Clark.
Michael Allen Clary.
Terry Lynn Clifford.
Danielle Don Cobb.
Chris Ann Cochran.
Helen Elizabeth Cockrell.
Linda Darlene Cole.
Brian Douglas Connor.
Kristen Ellen Conroy.
Laura Yvette Cooper.
Kenneth Leroy Cody.
Tammy Elaine Courage.
Michelle Lee Coveney.
Brent Derek Crawford.
Richard Christopher Crilly.
Carla Lynn Criswell.
Lana Celeste Criswell.
Danette Lynn Cunico.
Barry P. Cunningham.
Hugo Alexander De Cruz.
Keith Leroy Dalbendy.
Nicole Ann DeRay.
Alicia Bertha Davis.
Mark Jeffrey Davis.
Michael Ward Davitt.
Nicholas Nathaniel Dean.
Wendy Ann Denny.
Laura Ann Denome.
Nicole Marie DeVera.
Ronald Anthony Diaz.
Jennifer Elaine Dicchio.
Jason Doty.
David Dwayne Dornbrack.
Valvette L. Duggar.
Charles David Duncan.
Donna Renee Duncan.
Donna Jean Dunn.
Teresa Jean Dyer.
Pamela Suzanne Eagle.
David Anthony Ebner.
Roxanne Marie Eggum.
Rognilder Eriksdotter.
Susan Marie Eisenbeis.
Brooke Daniel Elkins.
Stephanie Lynn Elliott.
Roger Lee Ellis.
Regina Lynn Emerson.
Timothy Daniel Erickson,
Tanja Latrice Esther.
Julie Dawn I,
Christopher Allen Fadness.
Robert Edward Fleece,
Alicia Carol Fields.
James Justin Finn,
Eric Quinn Flanagan.
Rosemary June Flocken,
Paul Gilbert Forstaff.
Timothy Stephen Fox,
Brian Daniel Francis.
Linda Lou Frazier,
Krista Ann Fry.
John Rudolph Frigstad,
Corey Elizabeth Brooks.
James Allen Ferns,
Janice Catherine Gabrielson.
Michael Wayne Gatson,
Terry Lynn Garecki.
Sarah Ann Golick,
Robert Michael George.
Angel Elizabeth Gill,
Lorinda Gail Gerard.
Renee Elizabeth Goff,
Elisa Juliet Goodrich.
Cynthia Lee Goucher,
Kirk Stephen Gracie.
Joel Douglas Gray,
Leslie Ann Green.
Heather Lynn Gregory,
Todd Robert Griebel.
Mark Lewis Griffiths,
Laura Diane Grissom.
Todd Elliott Grow,
Rod Anthony Hadley.
Kevin Trent Haig,
Elisa Michelle Hall.
Darcy Lee Hall,
Lynette Ray Hamilton.
Chris Lee Hammermeister,
William Bradley Hammett.
Thomas Young Ho Han,
Catherine Marie Hansen.
Gabrielle Ray Hansen,
Kimberly Dawn Hansen.
Timothy Wayne Hansen,
Joanne May Harr.
Gregory T. Harris,
Janelle Lee Harris.
Gerald David Harris,
Michael Raymond Harris.
Rachel Melissa Harris,
Paul Stephen Harrison.
Jeffrey Scott Hartzell,
Carolyn Ann Hawks.
Ross William Haycock,
Patricia M. Hedger.
Christy Lee Helm,
Jacqueline Shannon Henderson.
Leslie Ann Henry,
Kevin Dean Heifel.
Rhoda Anna Hicks,
Daniel Ray Hill.
Andrew Charles Hentz,
Richard Honinger IV.
Benjamin Dean Hoffman,
Robert Joe Hoover.
Teresa Lynn Hogard,
Eric Richard Hogland.
Robert Murray Howard,
Kathleen Joanne Huffman.
Clarence Walter Huffstetler III,
Teresa Jane Hunt.
Darren Curtis Hunter,
Mark David Hutchinson.
Anthony Lawrence Ingersoll,
Russell Allen Iverson.
Thomas Aaron Ivester,
Lance Corby Jackson.
Laura K. Jacobowski,
Timothy Edward Jensen.
Brian Lee Johnson,
Donna Marie Johnson.
LaDonna Michelle Johnson,
Michael James Johnson.
Laura Kathleen Jones,
Patricia Elizabeth Jones.
David James Coleman,
Nancy Ann Kelleher.
Jeffrey William Keller Jr.,
Daniel Joseph Kenda.
Brian Alfred Kenyon,
Cynthia Jo Kerr.
Jessica Marlene Kettering,
Jonathan Barry Kissinger,
Kimberly Ray Klein,
Robert Anthony Knight,
Marta Jean Niddle,
Michelle Renee Cole,
Kenneth James Colways Jr.,
Lana Louise Cosbeth,
Kenneth Bentley Kramer,
Elizabeth Ann Pratt,
Douglas James Krebs,
Mark Dale Kronfeld,
Chad Robert Lane,
Jeanette Marie Lanker,
Ovind Larson,
Gregory Scott Lasecki,
Christopher Daniel Lawrence,
Richard Benjamin Levine,
Lori Lynn Leba,
Bradford Charles Lindsay,
Elaine Veronica Lobato,
John Leon Loba,
Reginald J. Long,
Loretta Lynn Lopez,
Christine Anna Marie Laughlin,
Cheryl Ann Love,
Michael Dale Love, Nicole Michelle Lovely, Kenneth Robert Lowe, Melanie Antoinette Lucero, Marshall Ray Lynch, Ellen Michelle Lyons, Scott Parker McDowell,
Brian Douglas Mackey,
Juan Antonio Marin,
Robert Stephen Markle,
Lance James Marshall,
Laura Marie Martin,
Rebecca Louise Martin,
Ernesto Isidoro Martinez,
Christine Ann Matchett,
John Richard McCarthy,
John Travis McCarthy,
Douglas Allen McLean,
Todd Michael McClellan,
David R. McLuhan,
Robert John McClure,
Michael Sean McCoy,
Teresa Renee McCoy,
James Trent McCumber,
David Scott McIntosh,
Deborah Ann McKinney,
Sean Michael McMahon,
Christina Marie Melanson,
Jason Rex Mingill,
Michelle Shin Namp,
Robin Michelle Merchant,
Eric Stewart Meredith,
Nicole Merrick,
Jacqueline Elaine Messenger,
Frank Lester Milholland,
Carolyn Christine Miller,
Wendy Ellen Miller,
Gregory Paul Milner,
Michelle Yvonne Mitchell,
Evelyn Mones,
William Joseph Hanish,
Susan Allison Montague,
Sharish Yvonne Molinar,
Hing Na Moon,
Sean Michael Moore,
Tulari Ann Moore,
Alex Jean Morell,
Roxanne Lee Morey,
Michelle Lynn Morgan,
Amy Joanne Morrison,
David W. Morrison,
Eric Wayne Morrison,
Homero Munoz,
Maureen Barbara Murphy,
Robert Martin Murphy,
Carla June Murr,
Jill Catherine Nardis,
Christine Elaine Nave,
Heather Lisa Neer,
Leslie Dean Nichols,
Michelle Renee Nichols,
Anita Bettina Nivens,
Scott A. Norman,
Tor David Nylander,
Patrick Joseph O'Connor,
Sabrina Simone Odom,
David Scott Oliver,
Michael Patrick O'Neill,
Inaki Ostiz,